In 3, 2, 1, go. Hey guys, Doug here. I have to say, the forces have been against me tonight recording this one. I've lost count how many times I've done this narration. So we're just going to run it through. I had some great ideas, but for some reason the technology just wasn't cooperating. Anyways, without further ado, this is my interpretation of Willem Dafoe as the Joker. Now, I know you guys have seen Joaquin Phoenix, Oscar, Heath Ledger, Oscar, but today is going to be my vision of what Willem Dafoe would have brought to the table as the Joker. So I've always loved Willem Dafoe. One of the things that really drove this idea or sparked this idea was 20 years ago. I was in a drugstore. I picked up a magazine, saw an interview, and I saw that face that the photographer shot at that one particular one. And I remember saying, gosh, this guy could be the Joker. I mean, like, it was like uncanny. I was like, this guy definitely could be the Joker. 20 years later, I decided, okay, well, let's try this. Let me see if I can find a photo that really fits what I think would be kind of like that menacing look of like unkept rage without him, just like it's all wound tight. And that's kind of what I chose to do. One of the things that I like to do when I start these portraits of anyone is to make sure that the face has good definition, that there's a good shadow on the side, on the cheekbones. Is there any definition? Something that's going to help me make my illustration better or portrait better. And I always like to start out black and white, or at least monotone if I'm doing oils. I find that helps me stay on the right track and just focus then on the actual likeness. Likeness is key. If I didn't get the likeness, then this whole project falls apart. So I felt really good that I got a likeness. And once I got that likeness, I didn't overwork it. I then began fleshing out colors. Now, in this particular set right now where I'm at, as I'm looking at it, I can see that I've already got the skin tone. I've finished the black and white portrait and I'm working on the skin tone. Me and my son were talking about the different Jokers. And one of the things that we both discussed was we really like the idea of that the Joker's face and this color behind is because he fell in a vat of acid or chemicals. And that's how his face became to be. It didn't want it to be about the makeup like Joaquin Phoenix Joker was. So this one was actually kind of tough, but challenging. I wanted to feel like, his skin was, I wouldn't say, I guess I could say deformed to some degree. I would definitely want his mouth to be a cruel smile, craggly a little bit, but not overly much. Just enough of, something's quite not right. I played around with different smudging effects. I definitely liked Heath Ledger's approach to his design of the Joker, but I definitely was a big inspiration from Cesar Romero's Joker. I think that probably had the biggest influence on how I decided to portray Willem Dafoe and this particular Joker. Let me take a look at it. Okay, so I'm really kind of fleshing out the ideas. The hair, do I go fluffy, or I ended up actually going a little bit more tighter. I think kind of, if I remember right, I want to say in Neil Adams style Joker. Those were the ones that I think that the hairstyle kind of clean cut seemed to work best for this. I thought about messy, but I said, I don't think that really works well for the design of this character. And so I decided to kind of do a clean cut, as you guys will see later. I think I played around the idea with a widow's peak. Does he have a widow's peak or does he not? I don't think Willem Dafoe actually had one, if I remember right. But for this one, I think I did give it a little bit. And I wanted to make sure that he was wearing a suit. I think that was the trademark of most of the Jokers. He's wearing a suit, that he's dressed up for the occasion. So I definitely did not want to stray from that. I mean, it wouldn't be the Joker if he was in a wife beater or a t-shirt. Definitely had to be, a dressed up kind of guy. And as you can see here, I'm cleaning up the hair a little bit and giving definition to the forehead and the highlights in the hair. And yeah, this was definitely a fun one for sure. I played around with like little wisps of hair stray, and it didn't really work for me. I think I wanted it kind of more clean cut. And definitely, I thought about, smearing the lips a little bit, but I said, oh, that's a little bit too much like Heath Ledger. So I kind of wanted to stick to my own. I liked a little bit of smudge here. I don't know, maybe his lips are white, and so he puts, lipstick onto his lips to kind of create definition versus, complete white lips. Although that would have been interesting, but I think, that's more of a trademark. Now, I just did a flicker, so if you see a flicker from time to time, that's me probably turning off layers and looking at my underdrawing to make sure that I keep the freshness of the illustration and I keep the likeness. One of the things I found challenging with Willem Dafoe was his eye placement. I think one of his eyes is ever so slightly off, and for most people, they would never even notice, but for me as an artist, I do take notice of that, and I wanted to make sure that I did represent that appropriately. And here we go into the shirt, and the jacket definitely have to go with a green shirt and a purple jacket. And I think I ended up with pinstripes. Here I'm playing around with the background. I decided not to go with a purple background because I felt like it would have made his face really stick out too far. So I think I ended up with a pale white background, which I found for me worked much more better. I don't know, it's much more better or actual proper English. I don't know, but I'm going to use it. Much more better. Anyways, like I said, I've done a bunch of takes of these, so let's just get this one done. Here we go. I'm putting in the white, and I think that really made it pop. So I'm tightening up the edges, and this is where I use a lot of the smudge tool to smudge things in and get that suit in very nicely done. I love the texture that I use, especially with my baking pan brush. It really just makes things seem more like a painting versus, a digital, smooth, cartoony feel. This was definitely a way more tighter illustration or tighter painting than I normally would do, but I think for this one I kind of wanted to follow, like, could this be on the cover of a comic book? I think it could. But more importantly, I would be thrilled if Willem Dafoe ever did get a shot at being the Joker. And I hope that through this illustration, you might think that too. Maybe I could, change some minds here. Maybe not, but it was fun. And so here I'm working on the neck a little bit. I want to kind of that little wrinkly neck. Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, little wrinklies. And I think I'm finishing up here, and I should be putting in my... I believe I should be putting in a signature ends very soon. Yes, very soon. So while I'm finishing up, I hope you guys have enjoyed this series and enjoy a lot of my time lapses. If you have any suggestions, please comment below. I would love to have the feedback as I'm just starting out with this stuff, and I can plan to do a lot more. So please feel free to sign up for my newsletter on my website, liquidmethod.com. I have a newsletter that I put out from time to time, is all the kind of different paintings and stuff that I do, as well as you can sign up, or not sign up, but follow me on Instagram, and of course subscribe here on YouTube. So thank you again. Have a wonderful night, and I will see you guys later. Happy painting.